Welcome to the HFY Tales channel. Remember to like and subscribe if you like the story. Enjoy and take care.
On the jagged cliffs of Karnath, where molten rivers glowed beneath a hurricane sky, lay the great arena of Asgoth. Here, the winds whispered the names of warriors long fallen, and the echo of battle cries soared through the air. Spectators gathered in throngs, their alien forms painted in vibrant hues, eagerly awaiting the start of the tournament that would decide the fiercest fighter among all species. Among them stood Liara, the prideful warrior of the Zalari race, a powerful figure whose reputation as an invincible champion was woven into the fabric of her people's identity. Towering and muscular, she wore the remnants of past vanquished foes as adornments around her skin. Golden tattoos of triumph snaked around her arms, each symbol a story of blood and glory. Liara surveyed the crowd, a keen smile curling her lips. Today would be yet another exhibition of her greatness. As the tournament began, she dispatched her opponents with ruthless efficiency. A hulking Grathian fell before her first strike, and a fleet-footed Alarian barely evaded her attack, seeking refuge among the spectators. Each battle filled her with exhilaration, thrumming in her veins like a treacherous melody. She lived for the clash of weapons, the taste of victory that almost addicted her. But then, whispers drifted through the arena, murmuring tales of a human, a species Liara had long dismissed as weak and frail. Curiosity sparked alongside derision. Their participation was audacious, pathetic even. Her piercing gaze scanned the crowd, searching for this alleged intruder among the spirals of colors and sounds. "Look at him," Liara sneered, observing Cade, a human soldier who stood a bit awkwardly, the agile yet gritty stance of a warrior trying to fit into an alien world. He was dimly lit by the sun, his dark hair tousled, eyes flickering with determination above his simple attire that contrasted starkly with the boisterous alien garb around him. "Do they even know what they're sending into the arena?" she scoffed, her voice ringing like a sword unsheathed. "What a joke!" Laughter erupted from her friends, reinforcing the collective mockery that made Liara bigger in her spirit, feeding her already inflated ego. But beneath it, a whisper of discomfort tugged at her. Was this human truly foolish or valiant? As Cade approached the arena, determination radiated from him. Liara's smirk faltered for the briefest moment. His presence radiated an undeniable vigor that intrigued her. With the tournament proceeding, she laid waste to a series of fighters. One by one, they fell, blood and dust mingling, constructing an elaborate tapestry of violence. Cade, in contrast, was already winning against his first opponent, showcasing a surprising agility that challenged Liara's perception of humans. Coaches and fighters were caught off guard as he gracefully dodged and countered, revealing strength rooted in strategy rather than brute force. By the end of the day, whispers intensified around Cade as cheers erupted from the crowd. Much to Liara's chagrin, the day culminated in an unexpected encounter. Liara found herself standing near Cade during the intermission, their eyes locking, tension rippling like electricity through the air. "So, the little human thinks he can fight," she taunted, playful yet biting. "Why not?" Cade's response was smooth, with a calm determination laced through his tone. "I may surprise you." Her laughter rang like the clangor of metal blades, rich with contempt yet tinged with intrigue. "Oh, I'm sure you'll be a real treat to watch. Save me a front row seat for your defeat." With that, Liara turned, a smirk dancing on her lips, the seeds of rivalry planted firmly within both of them. The next day dawned in a blaze of glory over Karnath, the sun casting fiery hues across the jagged landscape, calling forth the champions from every corner of the universe. Within the grand arena of Asgoth, the anticipation in the air was palpable, buzzing like a live wire ready to snap. Liara stood confidently at the heart of the arena, preparing herself for the next round. The sound of the crowd roared like a tempest, shaking the very foundations beneath her feet. She had won her first 3 matches effortlessly, each victory further solidifying her dominance and reputation. Yet, in the back of her mind, Cade lingered, a nagging presence that piqued her curiosity. Meanwhile, Cade sat among the ranks of human spectators, his heart racing in tune with the thrumming excitement of the crowd. Today was his chance to prove himself not only to the warriors of Karnath, but also to himself. The battles he fought leading up to this moment had built his confidence, but the specter of Liara loomed large, her laughter still echoing in his mind. As Cade tightened the straps around his forearms, he recalled how he had used agility and wit to outmaneuver his earlier opponents. However, he knew that facing Liara would be a different beast altogether. She was a warrior forged in the fires of battle, and he had to fight with more than mere reflexes. He contemplated her inexperience with humans. How someone as proud as she might underestimate him? Cade felt that faint flicker of hope beneath it all. He sensed a fight worth engaging, both for victory and for the chance to change perceptions. The crowd roared again, signifying the arrival of the next competitors. Cade's heart raced as he prepared to step into the light. The announcer's voice boomed across the arena, inviting the next two fighters, presenting the fearless warrior of the Zalari Liara and the bold human challenger, Cade. Cade stepped forward, the weight of 1,000 eyes watching him crash against his confidence. He took a deep breath, drawing on every moment of training and determination that had led him here. The arena fell into a hush, quickly replaced by a wild cacophony of cheers, each shout a surge of adrenaline fueling him. Liara entered the arena with all the poise of a predator, each step measured and confident. She approached Cade, eyes glinting with arrogance wrapped in curiosity. "Did you think you'd come this far to take me down?" she taunted, her words a hint of challenge, laced with mockery. "I'm here to show you what a human is capable of," Cade replied, voice steady. "You may be strong, but strength isn't everything." "Then let's find out, shall we?" As the signal to begin the duel rang out like a thunderclap, Cade felt the rush of adrenaline wash over him. The ground beneath him trembled as Liara lunged forward with ferocious speed, her movements a blur as a glint of steel flashed in her hand, an ornate blade that seemed to shimmer with raw power. Cade dodged, narrowly avoiding the sharp arc of her strike. He had trained for moments like this, where instinct and reflexes melded into one cohesive rhythm. As Liara pivoted to follow up, he launched himself into a roll, springing up to find his footing. With each exchange, Cade relied on his agility, sliding just beyond the reach of her powerful swings. The crowd gasped, astonished by his tenacity. Liara, for all her prowess, began to realize that Cade was not merely another competitor, but a worthy adversary. Sweat dripped from Cade's brow as he searched for an opening. With a quick feint, he moved left, then angled right, just as Liara anticipated. It was a game of chess, every move calculated. He remained focused on her form and the rhythm of her breath. Finally, Cade saw it. A split-second opportunity as Liara overcommit to a strike, her weight shifting forward. Channeling every ounce of strength he possessed, he moved in close, feet gliding across the ground like a predator himself. With one fluid motion, he swept her legs out from under her, sending Liara crashing flat onto the ground. The arena erupted, the crowd stunned into silence for just a moment before they exploded into frenzied cheers. Liara gasped in shock, and Cade's heart raced with exhilaration. He had done the unthinkable, grounded the proud Zalari warrior in one decisive move. As Liara sprang to her feet, anger coursing through her like fire, Cade felt a mix of victory and apprehension. She met his gaze with a look that was both ferocious and surprisingly reflective. "I'll not lose to you again," she warned, her voice low and fierce, a promise draped in challenge. Cade could only nod, the bond of rivalry between them simmering, entwining with threads of newfound respect. The arena's roar faded into a muted hum, the world around them collapsing into the significance of this moment, the spark of a rivalry that could change everything. The dust settled in the arena of Asgoth, applause reverberating like thunder, while Cade stood breathless, the weight of his victory coursing through him like an electric current. He had surprised everyone, most notably Liara, whose fierce facade began to crack, revealing the vulnerability beneath. As the celebrations echoed around them, Cade moved to the sidelines, adrenaline still rushing through his veins. He thought he had overcome a significant hurdle, not just in the battle but in the eyes of the alien spectators. For a moment, he dared to dream of possibilities beyond mere survival. Liara, however, felt the sting of humiliation burn deep. Rising to her feet with an embittered expression, she quickly locked her gaze away from Cade, refusing to show any weakness. The defeat pulsed like an angry storm inside her. Yet as she stepped off the arena floor, those murmurs of admiration for Cade lingered in her ears. Back in the shaded corners of the arena, Cade's friends offered enthusiastic congratulations, but he couldn't shake the image of Liara from his mind. Altered by the battle, he recognized the imperceptible shift in her. Behind her anger was something more, a quiet storm of confusion and respect. Later that evening, as twilight muted the colors of Karnath, Cade found himself standing alone beside a flickering fire pit, trying to collect his thoughts. The tournament brought with it the adrenaline and glory he had longed for, but it also brought the realization that Liara was unlike any opponent he had ever faced. His reflections were interrupted by footsteps, soft yet steady. He turned to find Liara approaching, her already formidable presence seemingly more intense against the fading light. "What do you want?" Cade asked, surprised to see her. He expected nothing less than to be ridiculed, but instead, her steely gaze held something distinctly different. "I want to talk," she said, the fierceness in her tone tempered, as if she were inspecting the fragments of her own pride. "All right." Cade gestured for her to sit beside him. He sensed an energy simmering beneath her surface, and he was curious to understand what lay behind it. For a moment, they sat in silence, the crackling of the fire the only sound breaking the tension. "I've never lost before," Liara finally admitted, the admission striking Cade like a crisp winter breeze. "Not like that. I didn't expect you to be so capable. It's what happens when you underestimate your opponent," Cade remarked, straddling the fine line between humility and confidence. Liara shot him an incredulous look. "You think me arrogant?" "Kind of," Cade replied, unable to hide a smirk. "But you're not the only one guilty of miscalculating. I thought you might have a soft spot for humans." A flicker of amusement crossed Liara's lips, though she quickly masked it with a scowl. "Do not mistake my respect as weakness. I may have lost, but I will not allow emotion to cloud my judgment again." "Fair enough," Cade replied. "I respect your spirit, but sometimes, acknowledging our feelings, the vulnerability we hide, can be a strength." Liara met his gaze, her expression wavering. This moment, devoid of taunts, exposed the fragile thread connecting two seemingly disparate worlds. "Do you always speak like philosopher?" "Only when I'm faced with a warrior who challenges traditional notions of strength," he shot back playfully. "You're different from what I expected," she said, her voice quiet, almost hesitant. "I thought all humans were weak, but you've shown me otherwise. Just like you have shown me that not all Zalari are invincible." Cade felt the bond between them stretch, a connection woven through mutual respect, each thread rich with potential. Liara leaned closer, intrigued. "Then you believe we can find common ground?" "I think we have more to learn from each other than our species' histories suggest," Cade replied, the sincerity emanating from him. The night deepened, and as the stars twinkled like diamonds hung against the dark backdrop of the sky, they continued to talk. They shared stories of their worlds. Liara spoke of the honor among her people, the burden of expectations, while Cade recounted tales of human resilience, of dreams stretching across vast galaxies. In that moment, barriers began to dissolve, and an unexpected bond formed. It was two warriors finding strength not just in their differences, but in their shared yearning for understanding. Beneath the bravado and pride lay humanity, a longing to connect, to belong. As they spoke, the foundations of rivalry softly shifted, transforming into something potentially richer, brimming with suspense and curiosity for what lay ahead. "Tomorrow we fight again," Liara said, her eyes focused and fierce. "But this time I won't hold back." Cade met her challenge head-on, excitement bubbling alongside apprehension. "Bring it on. Just know I won't hold back either." With a shared glance, they both understood the stakes. The next duel would not just be about power. It would be a test of heart and spirit, a journey that would ask of them both to confront the depths of their identities. As the night wrapped around them, promises woven and paths intertwining, uncertainty blossomed into hope. They were both warriors, indeed, each with their strengths to uncover, and in unraveling the ties that bound them to their worlds, they might just find something extraordinary. The dawn broke over Karnath with fiery hues, a kaleidoscope of color inspiring warriors anew as anticipation pulsed through the air. Within the shadows of the arena, warriors prepared for the impending battles, but for Cade and Liara, this day held more than just competition. It held the weight of a burgeoning bond that both excited and terrified them. After their conversation by the fire, Cade awoke with a sense of clarity that came from unexpected companionship. He had spent hours thinking about their shared discussions, the layers they had peeled back revealing not just concerns about strength or weakness, but humanity itself. As he readied for the day, Cade loaded his pack with supplies, water, a training assistant made from synthetic materials to mimic various fighting styles, and a small ration of food for quick energy. The tension before the duel weighed heavily on him, yet beneath it, a flicker of excitement gleamed, a chance to show Liara how much he had learned since their first match. Meanwhile, Liara stood before a reflective surface, examining her battle gear. Not just the lustrous armor lined with engravings of her lineage, but also the fierce spirit within her. The defeat against Cade had ignited a fire, fueling her determination. She was more than just a champion. She was a force. She moved through her warm-up routine, a dance of power and grace that demonstrated her mastery over her body. Each motion represented years of training, lessons learned at the hands of proud mentors. Yet today was different. Today, she hammered away at her weaknesses, not simply in physicality, but in the approach to her opponent. Liara, a fellow warrior, called, stepping into her training space. "Have you become so desperate that you train alongside the humans now?" Liara glared, unwilling to show weakness. "I am training to become better. While you waste your time with mockery, I'll prepare to face Cade." The other warrior hesitated, sentiment shifting. "Very well, but do not let this distraction cloud your focus. Remember, the honor of our people is at stake." As the warning settled, Liara found resolve in the thought. True honor was overcoming the challenges laid before one, both external and internal. Back in his space, Cade paired with his training assistant, eyes narrowed in concentration. He envisioned the moves he'd need for the upcoming duel, channeling his earlier success, but now with a new perspective, one of respect for not just Liara's strength, but for her potential depth. As he practiced, he recalled her agile strikes and powerful kicks. He focused on timing and learned to ride the rhythm of his heart. He had to bait her aggression into strategy while keeping his instincts sharp for counterattacks. Outside the training hall, the murmurs of the crowd grew, and Cade felt the weight of expectations from both his friends and the alien spectators. But just as quickly, he banished those doubts. It was time to prove them all wrong. Hours passed in a grueling routine, each moment sharpening his skills, molding him closer to what he needed to become, not just as a fighter, but as a representative of humanity. When the time finally came to enter the arena once more, Cade's heart trembled with a thrilling mixture of fear and excitement. The air shimmered with the energy of the crowd, eager to witness another fierce contest between the alien warrior and the human upstart. As Liara stepped onto the arena floor, fierce determination radiated from her. The cheers from her people engulfed her, and she drew strength from their adoration, remembering her promise to uphold the honor of her race. "Today is different," she whispered to herself. "Today, I fight for more than my reputation. I fight for respect." Their eyes met amid the clamor, an unspoken understanding piercing through the noise. Cade knew this duel would dig deeper into their core beliefs, testing not only their physical strength, but their values as warriors. The announcer's voice boomed across the stadium, igniting the crowd into a frenzy. "Today, prepare yourselves for the rematch. The fierce warrior of the Zalari, Liara, against the bold human challenger, Cade." As they took their positions, Liara's heart raced with the intensity of the moment. She was ready to give this fight everything she had, to push the perceived boundaries of warrior pride. She would not just fight to win, she would fight to understand. The signal blared, and with it, the arena erupted. Liara lunged forward with burning ferocity, determined not to underestimate Cade again. Cade responded, recalling the rhythm of their previous fight, dancing away from her initial strike and seeking the essence of her movements. Their duel transformed into a mesmerizing ballet of power and finesse, each strike and dodge showcasing their mastery, A swirl of physicality, confirmed strength, and rising respect for one another. With every confrontation, they learned from each other, their fighting styles melding as they parried and struck. Liara's skill thrived, and Cade's adaptability grew sharper. As sweat glistened on their brows and breaths quickened, the tension shifted from antagonism to a newfound synergy. They moved in synchronicity, pushing each other to the limits of their capabilities, while finally acknowledging the bond that had grown between them through their rival identities. The crowd roared, lost in the spectacle, as Cade and Liara ventured deeper into their duel, each recognizing the strength that blossomed in vulnerability, in respect, and perhaps in the flickering ember of something more profound. The arena pulsated with energy, the atmosphere thicker than ever as the duel between Cade and Liara reached an electrifying tension. Their eyes locked. Both warriors were driven not just by their respective races' pride, but by the unexpected connection that had grown within the embers of rivalry. As the signal rang out, Liara charged ahead, fierce and unyielding. Her training flared to life, each move honed through years of rigorous combat. Cade anticipated her strength, his limbs agile and quick as he ducked beneath her first strike, rolling to the side. But this time, her attacks came quicker, sharper. This was the Liara Unchained. Each swing of her weapon cut through the air, like a whispering blade, forcing Cade to think on his feet, to dance a dangerous waltz with the fierce warrior before him. They exchanged blows, a mixture of strategy and instinct guiding their motions. Cade's heart thudded against his ribs, yet in the chaos of combat, he felt alive like never before. He felt purpose. Each connection between their weapons reverberated within, stirring something profound. Liara, on the other hand, felt the culmination of emotions warping and melding with the thrill of battle. Each clash echoed a deeper understanding with Cade. He was not merely a challenger to conquer, but a partner in this fight for respect and shared strength. "Is that all you have?" she taunted, feigning a blow to the left before unexpectedly striking right, a tactic to unbalance him. Her instincts were sharp, and Cade had to rely on everything he had learned to hold his ground. Just warming up. Cade shot back, adrenaline pushing him to rise above the surprise. He redirected her swing, redirecting her energy, executing a precise counter that sent reverberations through the arena. As they battled on, their physical connections bred a silence punctuated only by their heavy breaths, the world narrowing down to the two warriors locked in the center of it all. With every strike, they pushed the other's limits, discovering capabilities that neither had anticipated. Their movements became a conversation in itself, an unspoken acknowledgement of their strengths and weaknesses. Liara, as fierce and proud as any Zalari champion, finally saw Cade not as a lesser being, but as an equal, a testament to the hope of understanding between their races. Cade, in turn, grew to recognize not just Liara's power, but the internal struggles that shaped her. A warrior burdened with expectations, fighting in search of truth, mashed between pride and vulnerability. But just as Cade was finding his rhythm, Liara let out a ferocious battle cry, channeling sheer energy into an all-out offensive. Her weapon moved with perfect synchrony, making it feel like battle itself was alive, twirling and swirling around them. Cade narrowly dodged one of her strikes, feeling the wind from her blade brush against him like a whisper of fate urging him onward. He realized that to counter her relentless fervor, he needed to trust his instincts, to become the fighter he had trained to be. Pushing past his limits, Cade executed a series of quick, fluid movements, countering her advances and connecting their dance of power with grace. Sweat glistened on their brows, the heat of battle pushing them deeper into the moment. With one swift maneuver, Cade caught the edge of Liara's weapon, causing it to slip from her grasp. The weapon flew through the air, landing with a clanging thud, but Cade didn't let up. Instead, he advanced, eyes fierce with determination. Liara took a step back, caught off guard but refusing to be hindered by her momentary vulnerability. "You think you can defeat me without my weapon?" Her voice was strong yet tinged with an electric thrill, not just of anger but of respect for her opponent. "Yes," Cade replied, voice steady yet laden with intensity. "But I'd rather do it this way, with you standing strong before me." With those words echoing like a heartbeat in the arena, Cade charged, his movements a blur as he launched toward her. Liara, fueled by the spirit of competition and something deeper, met his charge with her remaining vigor. Their bodies clashed, an amalgamation of strength and skill as they engaged in hand-to-hand combat. The tide surged with every moment, and Cade focused on keeping his balance, his resolve empowering him against the formidable warrior. Each punch he unleashed reverberated not just as a strike, but as an expression of respect, proving that Cade would not cower, but rise to the duality of their destinies. Liara, in turn, reciprocated each hit and dodged every advance, with a finesse that only heightened the tension. As time blurred on, both warriors stood at the precipice of exhaustion, relying on the relentless heartbeat of the crowd that thrummed like a drum in their chests. It was becoming clear. The fight was shifting from rivalry to something much more. Finally, with a resounding motion, Cade spun around and locked arms with Liara, both struggling for dominance. In that moment, they found themselves staring into each other's eyes, breathless and buzzing. Between them, an understanding blossomed that transcended competition. "Neither of us is weak," Liara murmured, a profound realization dawning upon her. "No, we're warriors," Cade replied, his heart racing with a newfound exhilaration. In that charged moment filled with recognition, they released their holds, stepping back as silence enveloped the crowd. Slowly, the thunderous cheers erupted once again, louder than ever, celebrating the epic clash before them, not merely a triumph of strength, but an awakening of unity. As their eyes met again, Cade and Liara realized that whatever the outcome of the duel, they had already achieved victory in their hearts. As the din of the crowd settled, Cade and Liara stood at center stage in the arena, both warriors panting yet filled with a profound sense of accomplishment. They had not only tested their physical boundaries, but had unearthed something deeper, a connection transcending the layers of rivalry and expectation. Amidst the roaring cheers of the audience, the announcer's voice rose above, commending the fighters for their exceptional display of skill and spirit. "Ladies and gentlemen, you have witnessed an extraordinary contest of strength, honor, and the very essence of warrior spirit. Give it up for Cade and Liara." The cheers echoed thunderously, yet within the whirlwind of excitement, Cade and Liara found themselves lost in each other's eyes, the noise fading to nothing. Liara broke the silence first, a smile dancing on her lips, something vulnerable and genuine shining through. "That was unexpected," she admitted, her breath still coming in heavy pants. "You've proven more than I could have imagined." Cade smiled back, feeling lighter than he had before. "And you've shown me your true strength, Liara. I didn't just fight an opponent, I fought a force." The connection was palpable, more than just two warriors recognizing each other's prowess. It hinted at a deeper understanding, a shared journey through battles of heart and mind. As the crowd continued to cheer, Cade felt an overwhelming gratitude. He had not only surpassed expectations, but had begun to bridge the cultural chasm that had divided him and Liara for far too long. But beneath the exhilaration lay an unspoken tension as they faced the realities of their worlds. A unity so unexpected sparked both inspiration and concern. "What now?" Liara asked quietly, her eyes narrowing slightly as if contemplating the ramifications of their bond. "I don't know," Cade replied earnestly, heart racing with uncertainty yet filled with hope. "But whatever happens, we've taken steps forward. This means something. Step forward. My people will expect me to uphold our honor and conquer all challengers." Liara mused, the flicker of doubt ebbing at her resolve. "You are still seen as an invader to this land, a species inferior in their eyes. Our paths may lead us apart." "Only if we let them," Cade countered, his voice steady. "Do you think they can't change? Today, we've shown them strength and potential. We're living proof of what can happen when we embrace our differences." A shadow of doubt danced across her features as she absorbed his words, grasping at the hope they offered against the backdrop of a tumultuous world. "You're right. This can change perceptions, but we have to be willing to face the repercussions." Cade nodded, admiration for her growing strength igniting in his chest. "Then let's stand together. Let's be the voices that foster change. Strive for understanding instead of competition." Liara watched him, her heart heavy with the weight of their realities, yet light with a flicker of possibility. You would stand for me, even among my people who might take offense? Cade took a step closer, sincerity pouring from him like sunlight. I would stand for you, for us. I refuse to believe we cannot create something new. We've lived in the shadows of prejudice. It's time to step into the light. The enormity of his words hung between them, the stakes high and tangible. Liara's apprehension began to dissipate, and a spark of courage ignited within her. She had always been a warrior, but now there was another battle at hand, a fight for understanding, a challenge steeped in transformation. As the sun began to set over the horizon, a cascade of colors spilling across the sky, the atmosphere shifted. Cade reached out, gently pulling her hand into his. Let's embrace this. No matter what, I'm here. Liara felt the warmth envelop her, a symbolic connection that defied tradition and expectation. In that moment, as they stood together, the bonds forged through their battles began to intertwine further, expanding into uncharted territory rich with hope and possibility. From that day forward, they pledged to work not only toward the recognition of their capabilities, but also toward building a bridge that connected their worlds. Together, they would face the challenges, fight the misconceptions, and transform the narrative of their peoples, crafting a story that would echo through the generations. As the cheers diminished in the backdrop of a burgeoning friendship, Cade and Liara looked toward the horizon, a united front against a world that had once threatened to divide them, a new dawn breaking bright and promising ahead.